So we've had a great session so far. Thank you guys so much for committing to this new aspect of your business and committing to growing your knowledge in this area. Look, we know video can be scary, right? Not everybody stands in front of a camera all the time like this guy, right? But he did have to start somewhere, which is why I invited him up. So I'm going to put him in a box for right now for just a minute, but then I'm going to pull him out because he started in video just like the rest of us, where we didn't really do video, right? We didn't have video. Back to Heather's original point, do we have to really do video? Not now, but now we do. I invited Bethany up to participate in this session because she has a great personality one-to-one, but we just threw her in front of the little black box and made her stare at the camera and do video all of the time as well. So we're going to talk through the progressions of how to get comfortable. But first and foremost, we're going to talk through just a few basics for everybody to think about. So if you have ever heard me talk about video before, what do I always say?
You look how you look and you sound like you sound.
You do, and now there you go. I figure it's now automated. I have to click more than once. All right. So you look like you look and you sound like you sound. How does that make you feel?
Great.
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, right? Unless you have, I don't know, millions of dollars to go plastic surgery, which I doubt very seriously that you can
I
do.
just woke up like this, actually.
Yeah.
But thank you.
But if you have millions of dollars to do plastic surgery to look different than you look or sound different than you sound, I doubt very seriously you're watching this video or sitting in this class, right? So you look like you look and you sound like you sound. It doesn't matter if you have good hair days or if you have bad hair days, right? Guys, I don't want to leave you out.
How you doing?
How you doing? Are you feeling very convicted here, Arturo? Yeah. Okay. All right. So
the resemblance is uncanny.
Absolutely. All right. You know what? Or if you are absolutely having a good makeup day or a bad makeup day, right, ladies?
Yeah.
Appreciate you, Christy.
There's
Appreciate
Bethany's
you.
picture.
Yeah, right. There's Bethany. Dude, I was looking for the picture of Mimi from Drew Carey. Like, think about the makeup for anybody who used to watch Drew Carey.
You about got it right here.
I about got it. Yeah. But here's the thing, guys. Guys don't have this necessary same, neuroses. Some guys do, but women have it a lot. Our hair's out of place. Our makeup's we're not good enough, right? But you look like you look and you sound like you sound. Be authentically you. That goes back to what they were talking about earlier, where Steve Black had a persona, and then he was a completely different persona when he left the stage, right? You have to be authentically you. Look, if you stutter...
Were they saying that's a bad thing?
Well, no, it's just that it's not necessarily an authentic thing.
I'm just asking.
Right. One of the things that I think that we do a really great job, if I'm patting us on the back for both of us, is what you see is what you get. We are going to be with you behind camera the same as we are going to be with you on camera, good, bad, or ugly. Right? We're
especially
authentic.
ugly.
You could looking in a mirror.
I was talking about myself.
Okay, just checking.
I would never call you ugly. I was calling myself ugly.
I still like my paycheck, so you both are very good looking.
Well played. I have her up here for comedy relief. Yes, but be authentically you, because here's the thing: you try to be someone else. First of all, they're taken, but second of all, you're not comfortable in someone else's skin. You're comfortable in your own because you've already lived in it for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, right? You're comfortable in your own skin. So live in it. So be authentically you.
There it is. There it is.
Bless America. All right. So how do you get comfortable? We're going to talk through some basic points. Space. If you're trying to get yourself comfortable to do a video, find a place that makes you comfortable. If you're in your office and you're just comfortable there, great. If you're in your favorite cozy sofa chair, great. If you're at the library, I don't know, be quiet when you're making your video, but great. Find the place that makes you comfortable and go to that space. What does that also mean? It doesn't mean you have to wear, 9-inch stilettos while you're taking your video. If your fuzzy bunny slippers make you feel comfortable, then put on your fuzzy bunny slippers. It's about getting you comfortable before you ever try to do something new and something outside of the box. Make sure your space is visually appealing. You saw in Justin's class several different types of backgrounds, right? Make sure that it's pretty. You don't necessarily need to have a background where the camera shot's so wide, you see all the back, you see all of the behind the scenes stuff. You want a really nice, tight, visually appealing space but you have to be comfortable in it. If you feel as stiff as a board, you're never going to relax enough to be able to film that video. Content. Know your content. There are very few people that can stand up in front of a camera unless they're content experts and wing it. You know, as much... He's been known to wing a few things. I've been known to wing a few things. But as much as I was doing content, I was still sitting in the back of the room building slides today to keep us focused, to keep us on task. If you have ADHD, what is your brain going to do? Thing, squirrel, shiny, over here, up, back there. Oh, tab open. Oh, that froze. Aliens on the roof.
Aliens on the roof. Wow.
You've got to have you ever been? My brain is, you don't want to be inside of there. But the point is know your content, be comfortable with your content. So what does that mean? It means you've got to have some kind of script, bullet points. Don't write it out because then space, comfortable, and visually appealing. You're going to read. They're going to know you're reading. Make your bullet points. Get comfortable with your content and practice, practice, practice. Don't practice, just like we say, don't practice on your $1 million listing. Don't practice on video unless you're going to run it. Practice a few times. And then, film it and then take the best cut. In front of a mirror is a great way. Having someone else videotape you where you can watch your body language, right? Donnie, when he talks, we've already talked about his hands are all over the place and he's like, whoo, I'm a pacer, right? So they cut me tight. They tell me exactly how far away. They put lines in the carpet at times. Exactly how far.
I look and I sound like I sound,
right?
That's authentically me.
It's authentically you, but you have to be aware of those things so that you can counteract them, right? If you sit here like this, what does this tell you? Do I look comfortable at all? I'm closed. I'm tight. I'm not comfortable. And I look don't answer that question. But you want to be open. You want your shoulders back. You want your heart open. Be ready for people, right? God bless America.
No, you're right. Yeah, I'm working on it.
All of us, we all have hunchback from the computer. We're all working on posture.
That's right.
Okay. But practice, practice, practice. Your cat, your dog, your friends, your kids, you are never going to get any more brutal feedback than from a teenager. Utilize them.
Or a toddler. There is some brutal honesty happens there.
There is. Have a videotape running. Tape yourself. Watch it. Oh, excuse me. I just dated myself. Record yourself. Watch it.
Pop it in the VHS player.
Pop it in the VHS.
Pop on your 8-track in the background. Put on some tunes that you're really into.
Out some beats.
Be kind. Rewind.
Yes, that's. Blockbuster. Nice. But one of the things you want to do is just watch your mannerisms, watch your body language, watch your tonality. If you have a monotone voice, you need to put some inflection into your tonality. God, you'll put them to sleep, right? What are you trying to get through to them and how are you trying to engage them? All right. So as you are doing video, there's a couple things you want to keep in mind. Number one, if you are anxiety prone and you stand here and your heart starts palpitating and your stomach feels like it's got the butterflies in it, the first thing you need to do is just physically slow your breathing down, right? Take a deep breath, slow down your speech. I talk a mile a minute.
Yes.
I have to consciously slow my speech down when I'm on video. And even then, if he and I get going, you can be like, what was that she just said? I have to constantly slow my speech down to make sure that I'm enunciating in the right place. I'm getting my words out. I'm not stuttering. I'm calm. That people can understand the things that I'm saying and the content that I'm talking about. So slow your breathing down, slow your speech down, and keep your body language open. If you're this all the time, that looks angry. It doesn't matter if I have a smile on my face or what I'm talking about. Hey, I won the lottery. It looks angry.
Can we just clip this
We're not
later?
talking about thumbnails for the next video. We have a lot of those. But keep your body language open. Try to keep your movements inside your box. Keep your breathing inside your box. And you can get a lot.
Keep your stomach sucked in.
And keep your stomach sucked in.
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
Yes. Keep your stomach sucked in. And outside, Melissa goes, and don't forget to stick your tongue to the roof of your mouth so that it pulls your... I'm like, I can't even do that.
If you keep your tongue to the top of your mouth, it creates a more level and less of a concave, and it should be convex under your throat. So if you put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, you will notice.
I can't do that. So I look like I look and I sound like I sound, right? I look like I look and sound like I sound. Right.
Not when you're
All right.
talking. In between.
In between talking. Yeah, in between talking. All right. So those are just a few basics. But like I said, what I want to do is I want to go back to the days of you starting in real estate where you and Danny used to go through every contract line by line, paragraph by paragraph. First of all, if you've ever found those videos on YouTube, they're still there. He looks like he's like 8 years old soaking wet. So talk about
8 years old in a fat box too. Justin Donnelly taped those back at
Yes, he
the
did.
office 18 years ago, probably,
Yes.
and back at Sullyfield Circle. And Lee
talk
Road.
about some of those things. Go back in your mind, talk about some of the things you thought about, and then how do you get yourself comfortable? Because not everybody's going to be in front of people every day or behind a camera every day. Now, and look, you don't have to have his personality. You don't.
Please don't.
Please don't.
Please don't.
Oh.
You don't have to have my personality or Bethany's personality or anybody else. You're you, and you're authentically you, and you're going to apply the things that we're talking about to you and your personality.
I think a couple of keys that I would have are I'm the same person on and off camera, absolutely. But I think that your energy level, you have to mentally say that I've got to be one octave higher in energy. Because like you said, the monotones. That's
Right.
one thing that I'm
So-
always thinking about.
Tell them how you get there.
Does this dance have anything to do with it? Is it this?
I will always crank music. I
Have
will
you ever
play,
seen us pre-sales meeting?
I will play some of the more upbeat songs I've got because
Yeah.
singing and upbeat music make yourself going. You know, Justin is in here every Friday morning with me before the update and a lot of the commercials, a lot of stuff you see. And, I will often drink energy drinks right before, which should lift your energy a little bit. But singing and stuff that gets my mood up in general is a big thing for me. Like it might not be singing for you, whatever lifts your mood. You know, I think a lot of people are probably like me. If you're driving down the road and a song hits and you're singing, like that's about as happy as you can be, right? When you're not worried about anything else.
Yeah.
You're cranking the song that you want to sing and,
And you're singing it as loud as you can.
obnoxiously loud.
And you
I do that right
sound
here, and I don't care that.
fantastic.
No, don't. But that's fine.
Yes.
But you get in a euphoric state in your mind that there's only joy, and when you only have that joy, then you can kind of bring more energy and happiness to what you're about to do. So I will always be doing that. Sometimes a little goofy dancing, but the singing and stuff really does bring me good excitement and gets my mood flowing in the correct way. And there's sometimes that, there's a lot of different things coming at you. You just got bad news about this, or you got bad news about that. And sometimes you have to reset. You can't do a video then. You've got to put, like I've given Sarah a hard time for, because she walks in and drops some like terrible thing going on somewhere that now is like stuck in my mind. I was like, really? 60 seconds before we go on? It's not the appropriate time. Like,
Because you have to know you. I have a different lead up. I don't have to necessarily, I have to think about it, shut everything else off in my brain, smile big, and I can fire, right? Some people can flip the switch, shift, and go. Some people have to go through exercises to get themselves there. But to his point of getting yourself in a better mood, it's just like, would you go and do a listing presentation if you had a horrible afternoon and you had bad news? Would you pick up the phone and start prospecting to get some appointments if you're in this crappy mood where somebody just cut you off and you wrecked your car and all these things? Like, you have to be in the right energy quadrant and that positive energy flow to be able to prospect, because that comes through your voice. What you're going to see it come through the video.
I think that, so your energy, making sure you're in the right mindset, I think is a big deal. I think talking slow is a big deal to me too. Like Sarah said, like I will often remind myself cues like that, because everybody can get going. Some people talk faster than others. Sarah and I, and I would say Bethany too, are in that boat where you keep going, right? Mm-hmm. But energy, I think, an octave higher than you're normally going to be, because then it's more watchable, whatever you're going to do. But back to the days, when you're comfortable is, there is a certain, you have to build up the confidence in yourself that what you're talking about, people want to listen to. And you also just have to be naturally yourself, and I think that you talked a lot about that with authenticity, is that I've never done one thing in my entire life with a script. Like, I think scripts are going to make you unnatural. Yes, even if you wrote the words, it comes across wrong. What I will often do...
Because you read.
Because you're reading, right? Yeah. You're not yourself. I will typically know generally how I want to start. What's the first line I want to do? I want to make sure that I've got my opener ready. It's a good afternoon. Hey, everybody. Hey, it's Donnie. Or, what am I going to say to start? Because if you know what your first sentence is going to be, it's great. And then I generally want to know how I'm going to end, to close out. Because if you don't stick the beginning or stick the landing, then you're not going to be happy with what it is. In the middle, it's where it's going to be authentically you. Now, you've got 2 or 3 points that you want to hit along the way, or however many you got to do. But you want to have a guide in your head. Okay, I want to go here, here, and here, before I then close it out. And this is what I want to do. So that's typically how every commercial, every video, anything you've ever seen me do, I've never had a script, but I generally will, before I start, talk through like how I was going to start. Okay, and then I want to end with this. And once in a while, because I do so many things with Justin, I'll be like, I really liked how you ended there. It's great because that'll be the ending for a little while, and that's just going to be the way I'm going to tape stuff for a little bit. Or we put a different spin on it, end it a different way. But starting and ending is key because then when you're done with your points, you have that crutch in the back of your mind. And how many times have you done a video and then you hit stop, but it was like kind of awkward at the end? I mean, shoot, we did it, a couple times when it comes to these videos we're doing with all the top producers and the Cardinals and all these things. Well, we'll end with like, see you next time, or one of us will say something like super awkward. It's because we never really discussed A, who was going to talk last, or B, kind of were we mentally prepared with how we were going to wrap up, like who's
or we
the
both
audience
open it to get the same time. We both go, hello. Okay, we're going to start.
We did do that. We did like, all right, who's starting?
Who's ending? But I think another one thing that you kind of glossed over there is in the middle, it's understanding and being comfortable with the content.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to talk about. You're the expert in what you're going to talk about. You've got confidence in the content to be able to focus on your front and your end and know where you want to go in the middle. The other piece I want to pull out there was he and Justin have worked together for a long time. So finding that person that can be authentic with you and then not take offense. Yeah. If I'm sitting here and I'm doing a video and Justin goes, that sucks, we need to redo it. Yeah. I can't get butthurt and walk out crying. I've got to be like, okay, what went wrong? What do I need to do better? Where do I need to land that?
You have to find somebody that's going to
and then go. With you. Yeah, you've got to have that authentic feedback.
And Justin will just be like, do it again. Let's do it again.
He doesn't tell us.
He doesn't say that very often.
But he'll say, time to do this one again.
I'm just kidding. But
why don't y'all try that one more time from this angle?
Or it's, it's like, now we've got one in the can. Let's do another one just in case,
Just keep a couple on reserve.
First one's okay, but maybe we can do better next time.
One thing I would add to being the expert on your subject matter too is convincing yourself that the people that are going to be watching that video already believe that. You have to think that anyone viewing that video is opening it thinking, you know what? Rolf's an expert on Springfield.
He's
I can't wait to watch this video and how he talks about that. And having that mentally there already puts you, into your point, a headspace that's appropriate for the video you're conducting.
Right.
Absolutely. And I think half the time we don't, at least some of the videos I watch online, I'm not sure you believe what you're about to say, that it has value. And if you don't believe it has value and you're not confident what you're going to say, that'll come across, Fake it till you make it. Fake the confidence that it takes, and that'll go a long way to building that up.
To that point, how many of you have a content idea that you think you would like, but you're terrified that someone's going to know one thing more than you and call you out on the fact that they know more than you do? Yep. What are you talking about? You're a fraud, right?
Somebody always knows more than you. Don't worry. I'm just kidding.
So that was a lot of great hands.
I just haven't met them.
And the ones of you that didn't raise your hand, I feel like you're probably lying, but that's okay. The point is this: you know more than your audience knows, or they wouldn't be opening your video and calling you to get more information.
Right.
You have your real estate license. You are practicing. You are selling homes. You are great producers. You are the experts.
You guys wouldn't be sitting, literally would
not be in this room right here with this one
right now if that weren't the case. True. So when Sarah and Donnie asked, hey, would you mind saying a few things about getting comfortable on camera? I said, what am I going to say to these industry titans? You guys are out there selling millions of dollars worth of real estate every year. What am I going to tell you about being confident in your skill and your vocation? You have that confidence. You've got the numbers and the volume to prove it. So just remember that when you're on camera, you're already the expert.
Absolutely.
No, it goes a long way. And I will say this because I've looked back at some of the videos that
they're fun to watch.
That you can find on YouTube of me, and even the programmed one. I before our time, Justin, I taped one in his house, 2008, 2009. I had a 3-minute intro, and it was on my website because I was like, as soon as people come to this website, I want them. You can find that one; it's fun. But I had all my points, but there is and I was always confident, but the confidence level changes dramatically, but it comes from reps and it comes from confidence in yourself.
Practice,
and what
practice.
you are and what, and you're like, I'm Donnie MF and Samson. We used to say that about my dad, right? He's like, Casey actually said it on stage somewhere at Real Producers. Yeah. He's I'm Casey Mother effing Samson. If you don't want to talk to me, that's your problem, not mine. But, you have to almost have that mindset a little bit. You gotta have a touch of confidence
is good, right?
That overboards a little bit, or that, and that will come out, not cockiness where it's off-putting, but confidence enough that people are like, no, I want to listen to what he's got to say or she's got to say.
I would err on the cocky side of confidence, honestly, when you're about to get into video.
I'm trying to toe that line.
It goes fake it till you make it, though. For those of you that don't have the at-bats at video, sometimes you do have to fake it until you make it. You have to just pretend like you do. Yeah, perception, absolutely.
But I think that the authenticity is you. So many of us are like, every word's not going to be correct. None of my words are always correct.
And sometimes I call him on it and sometimes I don't.
Yeah,
right?
But like even if you watch one of my commercials, it's more canned. Look, it's not the exact words you're going to say. It's not the smartest words, but you could tell that it's authentic, that the excitement that I'm trying to provide to people is real. So I think that that's one thing I would say is that don't get hung up on, is this the exact best sentence? Because then you get caught in this, I've got to write the perfect thing, or that word was a little bit off. Steve does, I'm seeing in the back there, he does these awesome, fun things all over. And like, look, you're not saying exactly what you want to be. You're being fun and you're giving something that people want to see.
It's entertaining, right.
And that comes from the confidence of being authentic and just saying what's natural instead of, well, I didn't say this sentence exactly correct, or I could have landed this. Just be yourself. And even if you mess up a little bit, keep rolling with it because it actually makes you much more likable.
It makes you human. You're not a robot. You're a human person that people see, oh, wow. Like when we filmed the update last week, I said some word, like I'll draw this as an example. I said some word and I was like, oh, wow, that was Southern. Like it just took me off base because it didn't even sound right. So I just laughed at myself and then I went on, right? I didn't stop and go, oh, we got to refilm the entire segment because I said a word wrong.
How
just
far
roll
into
with
that was
it? It was halfway. I wasn't redoing it.
So I can zero in on that part.
Yes, yes.
It was like a chapter book, that update.
Because if there's anything that Donnie can find in anything I video to make fun of me about, he will absolutely do it. Yes.
I find if you make fun of yourself first.
That's why I made fun of myself first.
Get out in front of that train.
Get out in front of that train, absolutely.
But thinking, and this question where we sidetracked a little bit, the question went back to, if you go back and watch those videos to where it is, it's reps, it's practicing, talking to yourself, having a critic that will give you that feedback, I think are important.
And your receptivity. So
and your you have to be okay with, the constructive criticism, and that comes from, having that confidence that, look, I'm not going to be perfect, but I want to know what you're seeing as the public out there. And I think it's important to be open to that stuff. I mean, when I made big 2.5 years ago, we introduced a monthly fee, and I was very uncomfortable with the message that I was just dropping on 5,000 people or 4,500 people, right? Mm-hmm. And I came in and I videoed it first, and I asked for my brother and a couple of others to come out and watch, and I was like, look, I will trust what you all say. You need to tell me, where am I missing? How is this coming across? Because I really wanted the criticism because it was that important that I wanted to nail what I was saying. So I think that's important. Like they could have told me, and my brother is the best at it because he will say the harshest things to me. There's no filter between what Bobby will say to me. Justin tries to couch it a little bit in a nice way, but Bobby will say, man, this is, So, but I think I wanted my harshest critic that would tell me the exact truth in that moment. So I went and got that person. And that only makes you better. So I did only do 2 takes. I don't know if we taped the first one, I think, but I was doing it so I could run through to my head and practicing.
Yeah.
And I practiced and I do a lot of things. So, I think that those are some of the points that I would talk to is be slow, have an outline, know your start, know your ending. I think those are really important. Even if you're doing a 30-second or a minute hit on your phone that you're going to post online, know how you're going to start, know how you're going to end, and generally what you're going to talk about in the middle, but don't get hung up on exactly what it is. And then you've got your safe landing spot. You got your pillow that how you're going to land is, can't wait to talk to you guys next week, or, I'll be back with another update Saturday, or know how you're going to end so that that you've got that confident, soft space that you're going to land it to close yourself out.
But the consistency too, when you have that closing line, right? That consistency is subliminal. It tells people, okay, he's ending this now, I can move on. Right? So being consistent, finding your tag, finding your brand, finding the opening and the closing to be consistent and inserting content, all it is a template. Right? Just like you would put an open house flyer together or something. It's a template. That's all it is. Right? So Bethany, we just threw you. You came from talking to people one-on-one.
Yes.
And talking on the phone.
Yes.
And everybody that knows Bethany can drop some humor one-on-one. But then we said, we need you to film some things.
Yes.
And
how'd that go, Beth?
How did that feel?
It was uncomfortable at first. Absolutely, it was uncomfortable. I think one thing, and I'm not going to stand, how do you say? I'm a funny person. I like humor. I find it connects me
Bethany,
with people.
you're a funny person.
You're funny.
Funny looking. I find it connects me with people. I'm comfortable when I'm being funny. That is something. So I lean into that. No matter what the subject matter is at the video I'm filming, I'm leaning in. I'm sprinkling humor in. Find what that wavelength is for you. It may not be humor. Humor is a good one because it's a good solid basis. It's, everybody kind of has that in common.
It's an icebreaker.
Yes,
yeah.
it is. I also found one trick that I started doing when I started doing things on video was I filmed myself and looked and watched it when it was just me talking to a camera. I then filmed myself having a conversation with somebody. So I put somebody in the room, put the camera in the same spot, but filmed myself. I then compared the two. How was I different when I was talking to someone versus when I was just talking to the camera? I could pick up on things like, were my eyebrows higher when I was doing it? Does it make my face more animated when I'm doing it? Was there more hand movement, more body movement? All of that. And to try to lean more into that conversational language, body language, and tones, and use that when I'm just talking to a camera. Because you're going to be more animated and you're going to be more engaged if you can kind of picture that camera as a person.
Well, and you're picking the energy up from the other person and engaging. So y'all remember the sales meetings we used to do on Lee Road, where Danny would climb up on top of the partitions and then he would jump off.
Jump on the desk.
And
The
every
maroon
day I
carpets.
thought he was going to wipe out with the maroon carpet. Yes. So we used to
You
do
know
sales
what? There's
meetings.
only like a couple people in this
most
room
of
that are
we
still
may
there.
have to find a throwback picture. Okay. So let's just fast forward a little bit through that.
Like less than 5.
We used to stream our sales meetings. Okay, great. Well, then we went to COVID. Our packed house became our video production crew. And whereas Donnie and I had done, and Danny, these videos all the time, engaging with the audience. Tammy, good to see you. Oh, hey, Richard. Like, we're talking to people in the audience and we're engaging. Well, our audience was gone.
Yeah.
So
hard.
then we're sitting here staring at the little camera because there's no one else to take eye contact with. And we're staring at the camera. And at this point, Donnie and I are looking into a camera doing the updates. And we're slow your breathing down. Keep your, because there was no energy. So we had to find a way, the two of us together standing on a stage, to find energy and bounce off of each other, or nobody would watch us. And if nobody watched us, then they didn't get the information that we needed them to know. So we had to start using each other. And I would say not as a crutch, but we had to start using each other's energy and bouncing off of each other. And if you want to know the truth of that matter, that's probably where our authenticity really started. Because before it was like, oh, well, he's Donnie. Yes, I've known him for years. Yes, I sold against him. Yes, I coached this kid, but he's still the CEO, right? But then when it was just the two of us and we were bouncing, we just started
Making fun of each
other. I was going to say cutting each other, but yeah, making fun of each other. And it really was okay. And it really allowed us to get very, very comfortable. It increased our synergy. It increased the fact that we could communicate on the same wavelength, that I can speak Donnie, he can speak Sarah. That's a really scary place to be. But so for a whole, that allowed us to really use that time and use that skill to impact Samson and its growth and its employees and its agents that were coming in. So there's a lot of places where, we were talking about earlier, where your communication in your video, when you get comfortable, allows you to be a better, I think Austin said it was a better human, but it allows you to be a better communicator, and it allows you to impact people because you see how you're impacting them and you're leaning into it. So we lean into our authenticity. Sometimes a little too much, so we try to cut back on that. We'll call each other on it. But you have to look, if you're up here and you're uncomfortable and you're not getting any energy because you're staring at that little box, then pull somebody up and do hey, did you hear about this movie that's opening up? What do you think? Or, hey, there's a new Chinese restaurant down the street. Let's go check it out. Like, lean into somebody. Arturo's kids are doing the video. They're fearless.
They're awesome.
Children are fearless, right? Lean into the resources
Just
that you
his.
have.
Most are not fearless.
That's hilarious. Well,
maybe
that
mine,
generation
maybe mine
is.
a little bit, but
That generation is because they grew up with technology.
That's true.
So,
But lean into
and,
that.
And I'm going to ask, this question of Bethany, and I think she did a good job of saying that she videoed herself and then videoed herself
I
in
love it.
conversations. And this summer we had Richard, Bobby, and Bethany practice doing lunch and learns, and then eventually go out in the wild.
That was a tough day. I'm not going to lie to you.
So we sat.
So we sat right here
Where
and
y'all
had
are.
them practice their lunch and learn. And I will say this and it was on video, and Bethany, I don't know if Richard and Bobby did or not, but Bethany went back and dissected the video and watched herself. And I will say this, because it was 7 months ago now, or whatever it was, 8 months ago. Bethany was not herself when she stood up on stage the first time and did that lunch and learn presentation. Now, one, maybe it was getting used to verbalizing the content. Two, maybe she was a little more nervous because Sarah and I were in front of her. But three, there was a camera, and it wasn't the natural Bethany that you guys know and love that's natural and talking and joking and all those things. It was a different person because there was a camera in front of her all of a sudden, and there was, Sarah and I in front of her. But I think that she had to have reps and practice and was really probably hard on herself when she said she'd watched it a bunch of times to try to get better at that. Whereas now, Bethany's very much more comfortable. Too comfortable because then she'll talk for 38 minutes on an update. But her one and only shot. But
I blew it on the weekend update, guys. It was like 40 minutes long. Yeah.
The goal is 15 minutes or less, and I think she was like 37 minutes.
I thought I was filming multiple weekend updates. I was confused.
But one of the things
the comfort level was, it was dramatic, and it was actually almost shocking to watch. And I know that this is an evolution for everybody, but she hadn't spent a lot of time in front of camera. Yeah. But then when she did, it wasn't the same person. So she had to get to where the point is now, where she's totally comfortable, doesn't even realize that there's a camera.
But the steps she took was reading the content, learning the content, saying it to where it was hers, and it was actually said in her voice and in her way with her humor, so that she made it authentically hers, and then taking the feedback open and honestly. When one of us said, hey, your eyes, you got to stop looking in that direction, or hey, you got to stop with this body language, flip your body here, or say this like this. She, got it. I'll say it like this. Like, she took it, she internalized it, she shifted direction, and then she practiced over and over and over.
I think that this is a good segue to another thought. I kind of mentioned it earlier. You have to put yourself in the mindset of the people that are watching your video already assume you're the expert. Another part of that, and I think one of the reasons that I was nervous when we were first filming that, I wanted to be sure I was an expert on the content I was talking about. I also had to shift my mentality of, let's use Donnie as an example, but Donnie in this context is your audience, right? Is your Facebook or your Instagram or your TikTok audience. Take for the next 2 days. Save my TikTok. I need my TikTok shop. Anyways, I have to put in mind that...
Has anybody bought the TikTok
Your
tennis
boy
shoes?
Elon's got it.
Oh, thank God.
He has
Somebody's got to
shoes
get
from
it.
TikTok. Great. Yeah.
I was wearing shoes from TikTok yesterday. They're delightful. Anyways, I have to keep in mind, so Donnie, my audience, and your audience being the greater audience, not only did they think I'm an expert, Donnie wasn't sitting there looking for ways, looking to find things wrong. That's not why he was watching. I had to shift my mindset to, they expect me to succeed. They expect me to be good at this. That's why they've chosen me to do this. That's why you're doing this, because you're going to be good at it. So having that in your mind,
I love
and saying,
that. Shifting to be successful.
I am just, all I'm doing is fulfilling the expectations that they have, and those expectations are that I'm going to be great at this, that I'm going to kick ass at doing this. And so, can I say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just did.
Well, yeah, you're right, I did. So that was definitely a part of that evolution and getting more comfortable, again, is not assuming the worst in people's expectations of me, not assuming that people are waiting for me to fail on that they think I'm good at this. So let's be good at this. Let's show them that that's the case.
But it's that mindset shift from the beginning. When I asked that question, who's afraid that somebody's going to pick them apart and think they're a fraud or whatever? It's the mindset shift to, these people know me, like me, trust me. They want information. They know I know what they're talking about. I'm going to answer it. And then, hey, if you have any questions or you want to talk about your specific scenario, please give me a call right? Yep. It's finishing it up so that you're not saying everything in one, you're not being the one thing to all people, right? You're giving a little blip. You're giving a little bit of content. You're dripping, right? The fish touches the water a little bit. I'm using your analogy, versus holding it up where they can't get the food. Because here's the thing, 10, 15 years ago, when you started video the first time, you sat down and read the entire contract paragraph by paragraph by paragraph. And that's how people learned. And that's how people digested content. Has that changed? If you have 15 seconds right now and somebody doesn't scroll past you, you've hooked them. So you've got to figure out, to Austin's point of the hook, right? What are you going to say or content you're going to use to earn the right to keep talking to them before they flip off of you and go to someone else? Right?
And I think that's true, but
So
I also
short.
think the way you say that, and it might have been the way Austin said it too, I believe that both those things are true, but it's the way you phrase it almost is so scary to me if I'm saying like, well, now I've set this bar up, I have to have this hook or this greatness or nobody's going to care.
No, just from the perspective of you can't sit there and talk for 35 minutes on
not say anything.
Right, and not say
like
anything.
Bethany and
It's
an update.
bam, bam, bam.
But-
Yeah.
Listen, but those 3 minutes of gold were gold.
but I don't, and I don't think you meant it this way.
Yeah.
But when I hear that, I'm like, you've got to just. How do you earn the next 15 seconds with that 15 seconds? And some of that can be like,
Oh, no, it's just 15 seconds.
Well, I can't earn that. I'm not going to be good enough to do that.
Right.
So like, I would hear that almost a little bit abrasive and like, that seems like a high bar that I might not be able to get there. But to me, it's about coming across as, and I agree with that in theory. I just want to make sure it's not so scary the way it's said.
It's how you're digesting information, or how the consumer's digesting information.
I just think
they're no longer going to sit and queue in for 4 hours to listen to what you have to say. You got to get it out.
You have to also, you want to be likable. People don't want to hire somebody that does, and this is why I put my video on in 2008, that I did in Justin's house, is they want to get to know the person they're going to walk into their house. Like, the more that you can get to, like, I don't know who Michelle is, but if I can get to know her on video, oh yeah, she seems nice, she seems likable, I'm going to invite her over for a listening presentation. You just want to open that door to get the invitation to keep talking to them. They want to keep clicking on that play button because they generally start to build like you're a real person jumping out of the screen. I mean, I don't talk to Sam as much as I'd like to, but I feel like I know Sam great because he's out there and he's himself on video. And there's not a more relatable and likable person in the world than Sam. And he portrays that through video. And anybody that's around him, Sam's like, I think he just called me likable. But, you're tricking me good on Facebook and the other platforms, Sam. But I think that's going to stream through to the audience around.
Yeah.
That they know what they're getting when they call Sam over because they've gotten to know the real Sam on video in theory.
Sam Hardman is authenticity goals. Like I'm not trying to blow smoke up Sam's skirt. If you haven't watched his videos,
why are you wearing a skirt today, Sam?
If you haven't watched,
I don't know,
videos,
but Sam, you got great hair. Time to do a video. You got great hair.
if you haven't watched his videos, hop on there. It's a master class in authenticity, truly. And to speak to what you guys were kind of talking about earlier, there is an attractiveness to vulnerability.
Yes.
When people see you're a real live human being, that there is a definite instant connection that can be made there. People like that. People like that approachability component, I think.
Well, it puts them at ease. It makes them comfortable.
Yes.
Just like the humor.
Yes. Another thing that Donnie was saying, have a strong finish and a strong beginning and a strong finish. I also like to have I like to have 4 or 5 $10 words, as I call them, words that I know. Not that I'm trying to be.
Will you teach me one? Because I don't have any.
I got one.
You know
Where's
what?
Austin?
I've got one. This is my favorite one.
What was Austin's word?
Capitulate?
No.
That's a good one.
Pedagogical. I had to Google it.
That's made up, but I'm okay
Pedagogical.
with
It
it.
means teaching.
Oh, okay.
Big words.
One of mine, amalgamation.
Oh, amalgamation's a good word.
Love amalgamation.
What does it mean?
It's a mix. It's essentially just a mix of things. If you amalgamate something,
Yes,
you mix
I like
them.
cornucopia.
See,
Cornucopia is a good
if
one.
you said that would actually make me like you less.
Okay. Well, thank God you're not my target audience, Samson. But okay, so maybe that. But say it in a way that sounds genuine. You find your $10 words that are still natural coming out of your mouth. That may take some practice on that, but get some ringers in there. Same thing with phrases. Having a couple of locked in good phrases, whether it's a funny phrase, whether it's a phrase
It's one of Donnie's jokes he uses all the time.
Right. Whether it's a phrase that it helps people pontificate. There's another $10
There's
word.
another one.
Whatever it is, not only does it save you for those moments where you're like, what do I say next? What do I say next? I've lost my train here. It can help put you back on track because that's your comfort sentence.
It's almost an anchor to get back to what you were doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those, I can feel the energy coming back in because I know how to nail that sentence. I know how to nail the inflection of that sentence. So that I find to be very helpful. Just have a few words. You don't, again, to your point, Scripts I don't think they don't work for me either, because I will be so obsessed with did I nail every word on that script that I will forget the greater context of it. But certainly have those words ready to rely back upon to kind of sew in there, or phrases in there. I find that to be very helpful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there another slide?
There is.
Okay.
Are you done talking with your? Okay.
Unless
So
you
here's
have
what we're
more.
going to do before we move on. I want everybody to pull out your phone right now.
Oh yeah.
Pull it out.
Lord.
I don't know if this is an iPhone or an Android. I just pulled a picture off the internet. So you're going to pull out your phone. I mean it. Pull it out. You don't get to not do
That's
this.
a droid.
That's a droid. You
It
meant
is.
to
I
do
just
that.
said phone.
And you knew
Okay.
it was a
You
droid.
know.
Everybody,
Ruiner
hold
of
your
every
phone
text
up.
conversation.
Hold your phone up. Okay. I want you to now click on your camera or video button. I want you to hit the little turn it around to your selfie page. Okay. We are going to smile really big because we're going to open up our thumbnail with a really big smile. We're not going to take a picture. We're going to do video.
Meredith's checking her hair.
Nice. You look like you look and you sound like you smell. We're
is
going
Arturo.
to, in just a second, we're going to hit record because, guys, y'all are nailing the hairdos today. Ladies, you look great.
It's true.
We're
Everyone's
going to
having
hit
good hair today.
record and we're going to say a little script. Hello, my name is. Put
Insert
your
your
name in.
name.
I am a rock star agent with Samson Properties. You can reach me at and put your phone number. So hit record, do your video right now. Go.
My name is insert your name. I am a rock
I
star.
knew it. I knew
it.
But that's the key. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so number one, you don't have to do anything with it. Just hold on a second. Number one, congratulations, you just did a video. That easy, guys. That easy. So here's the thing. How many of you immediately got distracted because of the noise? Okay.
Yep.
Well, what did that tell you, Michelle, that you have to do for yourself? You got to go somewhere else, right? But go back to, were you in a comfortable place? Probably not. Were you in your bunny slippers with your coffee or whatever it is that makes you comfortable? Probably not. Were you comfortable with your content? You know your name, you know your phone number, but you were reading it off a slide. So probably not too comfortable there, right? In a room with other people listening to you. But did you do it anyway? You didn't die. Great, Chrissy. Great point.
Did you die?
You did not die. So here's the point. You didn't die. You did it anyway. Pat yourselves on the back because even if you had never done a video before, you just did one in really bad conditions with everybody looking at you and you nailed it. Because it's better than not doing it at all. It's okay.
She forgot her name on the first one.
It's okay. Well, Donnie said insert your name
I
here.
said insert your name here.
He did insert your name here.
I was trying to get somebody to laugh, but nobody heard me.
I heard you.
All right. All right. So the point is this. You did the video. Now you know what it feels like to really do it in bad conditions. The next one's got to be better, right? It can't be worse.
That's the spirit.
Exactly. All right. So thank you because you humored me. And I love the fact that you guys all did that. So kudos, rock stars. All right. So let's pull out some mics back there. Do you guys have specific questions that you want to ask any of us, all of us, on getting comfortable, on how we started, what we do, content, anything? Any questions that you guys want to ask? Because listen, there's things like people say public speaking, you stand up and just picture everybody naked. That does not work.
I wouldn't recommend that.
I wouldn't
actually.
recommend that. I don't
No.
want to see anybody that way, right?
No.
I don't, right?
I don't know. Sam is out there. He's
Yeah.
looking good.
You go, Sam. Speedo and a beard. That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's Friday nights at my house, buddy.
Oh my gosh. I can't even with you guys. Prudence. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So my question is, first of all, thank you for the training. I really appreciate it. So how do you know when we talk about vulnerability and being relatable and just being human, being a person, how do you know when, like, what's the line between being vulnerable and being human and being all that and sounding unprofessional or unprepared? The reason why I'm asking is because I recently took the risk of taking a video. I went to a community where I sold about 20 homes. So I just said, okay, let me take a video and tell everybody I've been selling homes here. If you need a home, call me. And I did that in English. And I was very comfortable doing it in English. But then I thought, how about I do it in French too? Oh my God. Even though French is my first language, I had trouble doing the
translation?
doing the same video in French. And I kept trying to find my words and stuff. And I got discouraged and then I stopped. So I decided, okay, so I'm just gonna post the English version and not post the French. For some reason, I mistakenly posted the French version first. And people started commenting, so I couldn't take it, I couldn't delete it. So I had to just go back and put the English version again. But guess what happened to the English version? It was about 2,500 likes and shares and reactions or whatever. The French version, you would not believe it, was almost 500,000.
It went viral.
It went to 500,000 views and then I was like, okay, but this was not making sense. Like my video wasn't perfect as I wanted it to be. But
what do you think the number one attention grabbing video of all time is for videos? Blooper reels.
So
not Justin Bieber.
I don't know. So I just felt like when I asked the 100 callers that were calling, oh, we saw that you speak French and you're doing real estate. And I'm asking them, what captivated you about the video? They said, oh, just the fact that I saw an African sister speaking French and I'm talking about real estate that I've been scared about. So I'm wondering, what is the like at that time, my fear was that they're going to feel like I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm actually just babbling and I'm just not
Prudence,
finding my
go
words.
back to watch the first video we did. What's the purpose of the video that you were putting out? Now, granted, you wanted to feel like that expert though, right?
Right.
But the purpose result was the African sister speaking French.
Exactly.
You nailed it. And you rode the wave on that.
See,
now,
and I'll bet you the reason it got more play, Prudence, is you were much more vulnerable and likable when you were not being perfect.
you weren't as
The
polished.
perfection,
You weren't as polished.
the perfection and polish. The perfection and polish is not that we're not trying to be good. Perfection and polish is not attractive. Like it makes people feel intimidated that they don't really necessarily want to work with perfect. I can't connect with this person.
And it mirrors that. Go back to, we're not actresses and actors, but it puts us, when we're too good, too polished, too stiff, it puts us on that level of, untouchable, right? Like celebrity, like whatever. You being vulnerable is the most authentic connecting thing that you can do. So good job. Good job, girlfriend.
Killed it.
Yeah.
She didn't mean to. See?
But sometimes it goes back to the things that we talked about earlier today, where Austin said things don't necessarily line up. Some things are inverse of what you think they would be. Sometimes the least amount of followers, the less polished video can earn the most money and have the most impact than all the things that are on Facebook. Who cares if you have 100 million followers and it's perfect if you don't earn anything off of it?
I want to ask the guy in the back that does a lot of video. Dave, will you walk back to Mr. Fox there, please? Mr. Dustin. Yeah, that's you. That's you. So, Dustin, you've outwardly said you don't necessarily feel comfortable on video, yet you do a ton of it, right? Now, you obviously feel a lot more comfortable today than you did 5 years ago, right?
Or 3 years ago, or whatever. Yeah.
I really don't. I feel the same
Do
level
you?
of anxiousness that I do.
How do you get through that? Because you do a lot of video. Like tequila.
Tequila.
I mean, I know you were saying you never do scripts, but we do a lot of scripts for our market updates, like with the iPad teleprompter. But it doesn't help. I did a listing presentation that somebody called us from our YouTube ads yesterday, and as soon as I got there, the gentleman said, where's Devin? And I said, she's in another appointment. And then when we sat down, like husband and wife, he said, I don't want you to take offense to this, Mr.
But we
Fox.
wanted Devin.
No, he said, I do communications for large companies. I'm a contractor. And I think the videos are much better when they're just Devin.
Whoa.
So,
Wow.
like, that doesn't help.
Thank you for your honesty.
So now your confidence is sky high next video.
Yeah, but I mean, I see the results in the ad stats too.
Sure.
It's like the results are there. Like her cost per click is like half the amount that mine is. Her average view time to 100% is much higher, as is most of the women on my team. So like I am now going towards just doing the market updates, just doing the advertising with her and letting her do the properties. Because if me being in the video is going to hurt my client's property.
So,
then-
all right, but hold on before
Is
we
that
go to
just
that.
because she's better looking than you? Though?
Right. So let's be real. Like, let's be real. And I don't mean this to say, guys, sorry, I apologize in advance. But who is going to be less intimidating if someone walks, like, let's take door knocking, for example. You go knock on somebody's door. Who's less intimidating to a seller opening the door, a woman or a man? Who is much more connectable because of sometimes facial expression, because of just women characteristics on video, women or man?
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that men don't have place and don't have value, and yes, you should do it. But sometimes if you know that Devin, because she's a woman and she's getting better results, it doesn't mean Dustin sucks. It means she's hitting. So he needs to include her in all this.
Does she run the same scripts you do?
Yeah, she does. I mean, obviously we do videos together. We do videos separate. But to answer your question, I got sidetracked. The reason why I do it anyways, even though I'm anxious, is because just how effective it is.
Yeah.
Like if you guys thought about, for most of you, what would make you more nervous, like going on a $300,000 condo listing presentation or a $10 million one, like you're going to prepare for both, but you're going to treat the $10 million one with a little bit more preparation. With the video, like the amount of business that you can get from it, because when you're sending somebody postcards, they might be in the thought of, I might be listing my home soon, so I'm going to start saving these. But when you start delivering video consistently to them, they're going to feel like they know you. When you go to meet with them on a listing presentation, they're going to sit down with you and say, you know what, you don't need to go over any of the marketing. I've already seen all of your videos a bunch of times. And it just makes your life a lot easier. And everybody's going to come up to you at restaurants and in the community and say, I see your videos all the time.
Well,
So
and
have you guys seen any of our team's videos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like in your local market?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Get off my screen.
No,
sis.
no, and that's good. But it's interesting that even somebody that does as much as you and you're still not getting there. Do you feel better than you used to, or still the same level of anxiousness?
I feel a little bit better. I will say I'm much more comfortable where my team is not very comfortable when I tell them somebody has raised their hand or they have a listing presentation. I'm like, send them a video bomb, like rather than drop off a pre-listing packet, like get on video and do it. And they never do it. And I will hound them and say, copy me on it, send them the video bomb, and they're just not comfortable. And I remember being like that the first time I tried to do a video CMA for my database, or somebody was asking me what my property is worth during COVID. I was like freezing up. I was like, Devin, you have to do this. She never felt that way. But it was just what you said earlier, more reps. Now I'm the most comfortable person on the team because I've done it more than anyone else.
Right.
Right.
So you've grown more comfortable. You still just it's not your
favorite thing to do.
not your favorite thing, but you realize the value of it. So you've just gotten reps and you're more comfortable.
But a property tour video, still palm sweaty, mom spaghetti. Like
knees a
Palm
week.
sweaty, knees a week. That's hilarious. Well, one of the things that I want to
good.
kind of hone in on what you just said about, people know you. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I will go out and people come up and start talking to me and they're like, oh, I've seen you on TV. And they do the same thing to him. Oh, you're Donnie Samson. It's not because we're anything special. It's because we've been on video so much and we've goofed around authentically so much. People feel like they know us and they have conversations with us. And people will call me and start having conversations with me over the phone. I've got no idea who I'm talking to, right? But it's because they feel comfortable because they know you, they've seen you, right? This is the purpose. You want to be seen. You want to be known. You want people to connect with you.
Do you think your market stats, and it can be a totally different thing, but your market updates, and I know you template them out for all so that your team members can do their local market and it's plug and play, right? Do you think that they would have the same success or more success if you gave them a couple of points to hit, but you let them be themselves a little bit and they didn't say every word exactly the way you wanted to do it?
Yeah, that what was interesting about yesterday is not only did that guy tell me that it's better when Devin's in there, he specifically said, the woman that you have in South Riding, I really think, and I don't know how you would tell Devin this, But I think if you guys just relax a little bit in your videos, she seems very relaxed and showing more personality. So a lot of it is like, if you're going to use a script, like watch some YouTube videos on how to read off of a teleprompter and like relax, like take a breath, look away. Add some personality, like Nikki Francis on our team. There's a few agents on our team that really have the market updates down where it seems genuinely them and not like they're reading off of a teleprompter like I do.
Right.
Yeah. So,
But even with me doing it bad, it's still working.
it's still going to be productive either way.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying it won't be, but I think that you see that with Nikki and Donna and South Riding, like that. If you get more comfortable, more natural, and put a little bit of your own spice and sauce and vulnerability and likability in there, it probably does better. Now, even though you've done it a million times, Dustin, if you let your natural, like the M&M joke you just made was great, right? And that was you naturally being yourself. Like if you put a little bit of that, I bet you it would be even more productive, right? But it's tough with a camera on you. You feel a little different than if you're just talking to us.
Well, it adds a little bit with the husband and wife dynamic.
Right.
Yeah.
You've
It's
got to
like,
have that dynamic of playing off of each other.
I want to do that, but I'm like, let's do the Chip and Joanna thing. And she's like, I don't want to be the bickering couple. And I'm like, that's
well,
what
and
I
you don't
want.
even have to bicker. You can just like finish each other's sentences or have a joke or whatever. But having someone else in the video helps you feel more at ease. And like we talked about earlier, gives you more energy.
Yeah.
And look, the camera is going to put 10 pounds on your face and probably 92 pounds on your butt.
Good Lord.
Like, it's what happens.
I'd like to know how many cameras are on me then at any given time, because I
But
swear.
the thing is having that bounce off of let's have energy, let's have engagement,
Yes.
getting comfortable in doing it. Guys, you cannot, and to Dustin, how many of you would have just crumbled if someone had given you that feedback?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'd still be crying somewhere.
Right. Like you water off a duck's back. You've got to just keep on going and keep on doing it. Pick up the video and do it again. And then do it again, do it another time. So what's next as we close up?
Yeah,
Because
he
we're going to have
signed it was 3.5% listing, so he can tell me whatever he
Hey.
wants.
Right.
There you go.
Good job, Dustin. Good job. So Dustin's going to come up here in just a few minutes and talk about, now, once you have your video, what do you do with it? But what's next for you guys to kind of wrap up this session? So number one, this morning we had Heather in here talking all about video strategy. Your next step is to pick the video strategy that you want. We had Justin talk about equipment, and then even Austin said you should at some point invest in equipment, but for now, use your phone, right? So pick your equipment. You've got to pick that before you leave, right? Pick your content. What kind of content, what kind of video are you going to do? Rip off and duplicate. Don't sit around and try to make it perfect, because we will never be perfect. We will never get it out the door if we try to nail every word and not stutter or use the wrong word. Rip off and duplicate, get it good enough. You're still authentically you. Practice, practice, practice. Where is your dog? Practice, 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 right? Dog sits there, do it. If the dog leaves, well, you might need to pick a new thing, or you might need to get a little bit more entertaining. Practice, practice, practice. Pull out the phone and just do it, right? Nike, just do it. Any other wrap-up questions before we take a quick break? All right, Tammy. All right. You have a question about what? And like and all the things. Yes.
Donnie says, I say, all the time.
I say,
You say,
You do.
cool.
So it's authentic. So it really has to do with authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So I say,
Very
a
authentic.
lot. I love using scripts because I have imposter syndrome, and I think they make
I
me
think we
sound
all do.
smarter.
Right.
So, but I don't say in them. And so when I go meet people, I sound different.
Right.
So what do you
So-
do about that?
So deviate a lot.
Let me ask you a question. Why are you afraid to say in a video?
I don't know. I'm sure I do. I do it in my client videos, like process videos to them,
Yeah.
because those are not scripted.
All is your brain trying to catch up with where you want to say next. Right? That's all it is your brain, your mouth giving your brain time to flip and fire. Right?
And during menopause, it's really,
really bad.
because you forget
menopause
what you're
is-
saying.
That's why I say it all the time.
Just a different word, but I mean, you know what I mean.
I do.
Yeah, I don't. I think there's a time and a place that the fact that you know that I say a lot means that I
You're
obviously
listening.
include in a lot of stuff, and you're listening, and that's obviously a verbal crutch of mine. But I think it's okay. Like, I don't think anybody in this room would call me unapproachable or
You don't say it
'cause-
every other word.
Well, but I also I think it's very real. You know, and I think that probably, not that I'm a likable guy, but makes me more likable because I'm
It makes you more
naturally
human.
myself, because I'm more human. So I wouldn't, yes, there's a time to be perfect and professional. And when Justin and I put together these $50 videos to send out that are super nice, and yes, we want to be professional.
Yeah, you can't blow your nose on your sleeve on
But-
that one, bud.
I know, sometimes I do. I gotta stop.
I mean, I think I
but,
do enough
but
video
being
that it
natural is
sounds-
also important, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the purpose, Tammy. Like, what's the
Yeah.
purpose? If you are so polished and so professional, look, if you need a script and that makes you feel comfortable enough to do it, use the damn script.
Yeah.
If you feel comfortable and you're moving off the script and you feel a little bit more comfortable just having a front, having a land, and hitting some content in the middle, do that. It's about making you comfortable. But again, even when you're doing the script, you may have points you want to hit, but be cognizant of not reading it, looking up, slowing down, taking a breath. Your body will naturally relax. That will make you a little bit less like
I'm
when you're
a,
doing your video.
I'm a
And I
big
think-
fan of a pregnant pause. Big fan. Like to really one of those, you make a sentence and then it could just be because my mind hasn't found the next sentence yet, but to make my face convince them that it's an intentional pause where I'm about to say something profound in the next moment.
Like E.F. Hutton says.
Just take them right.
Yes.
Yeah.
For
who
those
is
of
E.F.
you-
Hutton?
Just say yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I drive my daughter crazy with the teleprompter because she'll just spurt it out and I'll be like, no, I can't do that. I need that teleprompter. Even in the pool, when I did the pool video, I had a teleprompter in front of me in the hot tub. I mean, it was crazy. But I think that if you
What
do
is
it
this
enough
pool and
on a
hot tub video of
I miss
Tammy's? this
Tammy.
morning?
Are you not following
Tammy, you just took us down the road.
Hey,
It's Tammy After Dark. You've never,
Tammy After Dark.
No.
this is Tammy.
I was
Is this
looking
Tammy's
for a
real estate or
house pool for
OnlyFans
my
page?
buyer.
What's going on here?
But I
Oh, my
think if you
heavens.
use the teleprompter enough, you get used to looking away and then you look natural. So it doesn't
Right.
bother.
But again, it goes back to practice, practice, practice. Like, we are used to doing things in the studio. When we go to the award ceremony and our slide deck, which is here and sometimes big and behind us because I'm blind and can't see, and the teleprompter goes down here, it takes us a beat to get comfortable with the teleprompter down there as well. By the end of it, we're good, right? But it's getting comfortable. It's repping over and over and over again, taking the breath, like you said, looking away, nailing what does Kaysen call it, like the fourth wall or fifth wall or third wall, what or something in video, whatever.
Case in your son.
Yeah, he.
You're
is
you're
into
looking
the-
at us like we know.
Yeah, like
Casey's
what does
talking
Kaysen
about.
say?
Well, he's like this, like video.
She's talking about
kid.
E.F. Hutton and Fifth Walls. I think it's time we close this up.
That's-
One other thing I did want to say though, because Tammy, you made a good point. Like, okay, if I'm going to come across differently in person than I did in the video because
Right.
you had the practice, I think probably we give people too much credit too for picking up on those differences.
Right.
We're our own worst critics. We see and we know the differences. They're not going to see as much of those probably as we think. I also think that there's a built-in expectation too that when people watch a video, they know there's a little bit more practice that goes into that than the person in there. So I wouldn't be too concerned with that. I think.
And to piggyback on Prudence, it's like you were super uncomfortable with the video, but I would guarantee you that 90% of the people watching just said
It was perfect.
it was great,
Yeah.
That was great. Wow.
right? It was great. It was great.
Christy.
Yeah, that's a great point.
We got Mike over here.
I don't think so.
They can't. They can't hear you on the film.
My throat's a little raw from the episode earlier, but
Yeah.
anyway.
You good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Dry drowning.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is that I found, and y'all might think I'm weird for this, but I found going live on Facebook was the best way for me to get comfortable. And the reason is because that your Facebook page is normally your friends and family, and that's your safe space, right? So, I'll go live. My first live was like, I don't know, I was doing an open house or something. And I'll never forget that I was so nervous that I was going up the stairs. And by the time I got upstairs, I had no breath. I sounded like a fool. It was awful. I was so nervous. But then I realized, because people were popping on and saying, "Oh, where are you?" And doing that kind of stuff. So you can kind of get a twofold thing from that. If you go on, say on a Friday, and say, "I'm thinking about doing this," and you're really just talking to yourself, really, because nobody's knows that you're live unless people are like, "Oh my God, Meredith's live. Let me go see what she's talking about." And they could do that. That's what happened to me. But you don't know who you're talking to. But you can say, I'm thinking about doing this every Friday. You know, this is my area of expertise. You know, what do you guys think? Do you have questions? What would you like for me to talk about?
Right. Do you have
And it's gonna
topics you
give
want me to cover?
Content stuff. Yeah. And then, you know, you're not actually live when you're saying it. Well, actually, you kind of are. Now, I don't think you used to be. It used to count down and then it would post it when you finished the video. But now I think you actually do go live. So, because we were doing a training and we were testing out something for our team, and Tara and some other realtors were like, why'd you stop? And I'm like, why were you on it? What are you You should know how to do a CMA. What are we talking about? But
I
anyway.
was on it too. It was good stuff.
Well, you should already know too. No, I'm just kidding. we love Tara. But anyway, so that was my suggestion, to start with your safe place, your people you know, and you know the people that love you, and no matter what you say, they're gonna be like, oh my God, it was great, but I'd like to know about the interest rates next week. You know what I mean? So that's my 2
Awesome.
cents.
All right, you guys. Well, we're going to wrap this session up, give you a 10-minute break, make your phone calls, get some coffee, hit the restroom, and then we're going to mic Dustin up, and he's going to come back and talk about when you leave here, you got all these things, you're ready, you're going to film your video, and then what are you going to do with it? Where are you going to put it? And how are you going to use it to grow your business? And that is going to be Dustin's talk, and then we will wrap up for the day.